I'm Nova Kinsley, a 28-year-old data scientist, and I've been bankrolling my family's life in Seattle for years. $2,500 a month, straight from my account to theirs, no questions asked. But last night, I overheard something that stopped me cold. My mother, Diane, and my sister-in-law, Lila, were in the kitchen whispering like conspirators. "Nova's gotta go," my mother said, her voice sharp as a knife. "She's dragging us down with her weird computer job." Lila laughed, low and mean. "What job? It's probably a scam. We'll run this house better without her." My own family, plotting to kick me out while spending my money? I stood frozen in the hallway, my laptop humming in my bag, my heart pounding like it might break through my ribs. I've paid for their groceries, their utilities, their endless Amazon deliveries, and they think I'm the problem? The betrayal stung, sharp and raw, like a slap I didn't see coming. I wanted to barge in, scream the truth, but something held me back. A plan was forming, quiet and fierce in the back of my mind. I wasn't always the family ATM. 4 years ago, I moved back home after a brutal burnout in San Francisco. Data science was my escape, a way to rebuild without the chaos of office politics. I started small, coding for startups, scraping by on $500 gigs, but I got good, damn good. By last year, I was pulling in six figures, all from my childhood bedroom in this creaky Seattle house. My father, Paul, got it. He'd nod proud when I showed him my client contracts. But my mother? She'd squint at my screen like it was a slot machine, muttering, "This can't be real work." Last night's betrayal wasn't just words. It was a line drawn in the sand. I crept back to my room, my hands shaking as I opened my banking app. $2,500 a month, that's what I've been transferring to keep this house afloat. Mom's designer bags, Lila's wine subscriptions, my brother Ethan's car payments, all on me. And they want me gone? I stared at the numbers, cold and clear, and felt a spark of something dangerous. Not anger, not yet. Power. I could stop the payments. I could walk away. But that's too easy. They need to feel what it's like without me, to see the hole I've been filling. I leaned back in my chair, the Seattle rain tapping the window like a drumbeat. My mother's voice echoed in my head. "Nova's dragging us down." Oh, Mom, you have no idea what's coming. What happens when the money stops? When their cozy life unravels? Stick around, because this story's just getting started. You'll want to see how it unfolds. Trust me, it's a wild ride. If you're hooked, hit that subscribe button for more stories like mine, fresh every week. I closed my laptop, my mind racing. Tomorrow, I'd visit my father in the hospital. He's the only one who's ever believed in me. Maybe he'd know what to do. Or maybe I already did. The rain kept falling, and I smiled. Just a little. They thought I was the weak link. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The rain hadn't stopped by morning. It drummed on my bedroom window, a relentless pulse matching my restless thoughts. I sat at my desk, my laptop glowing with code. Data science was my sanctuary, lines of logic that paid the bills my family so eagerly spent. $2,500 a month. That number burned in my mind. I'd been wiring it to my mother's account, covering her impulsive shopping, my brother Ethan's car, Lila's endless subscriptions. They thought I was just tapping keys, scamming someone. Last night's whispers still stung. Her weird computer job. I sipped my coffee, cold now. My mother, Diane, was downstairs, humming as she unpacked another delivery. Probably another handbag. I'd seen the charges. $800 last month alone. I could have confronted her, shown her my bank statements, my client contracts. But she'd never listened before. Why would she now? Then I heard it, a faint click from my door. I froze, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. Someone was in my room. I spun around, but the space was empty. My heart thudded.
My laptop was open, my files exposed. I checked the screen. A folder was open, one I hadn't touched. My client invoices, my payment records. Someone had been snooping. I crept to the door, peering down the hall. My mother's bedroom door was ajar. I slipped inside, my pulse racing. Her desk was a mess of receipts and catalogs. Tucked under a magazine was my old USB drive, one I hadn't used in years. I plugged it into my laptop. My stomach dropped. Screenshots of my emails, my PayPal transactions, even my tax returns. She'd been digging, looking for proof my work was a lie. I wanted to scream. All those nights I'd stayed up, coding until dawn, building a life from nothing. And she thought it was a fraud? I leaned against the wall, my breath shallow. The betrayal cut deeper than last night's words. She wasn't just dismissing me. She was hunting for ways to discredit me. Downstairs, the front door slammed. Ethan's voice boomed, laughing with Lila. They were back from wherever they'd been, probably planning how to fix me. I shoved the USB drive into my pocket. I wouldn't confront her yet. Knowledge was my weapon now. I returned to my room, my mind spinning. My father's stroke had changed everything. His hospital bills were piling up, and I've been paying them, no questions asked. But my mother's spending was a black hole. Last week, I'd found a receipt for a $5,000 designer coat. $5,000. That could have covered a month of Dad's care. I clenched my fists, the anger rising like a tide. That I wasn't helpless. I opened my banking app, staring at the transfers I'd scheduled. $2,500. I could stop them. I could let them feel the weight of their choices. But first, I needed to know why my mother was digging. What was she hiding? I glanced at my phone. A text from Dad's nurse. He was awake, asking for me. I grabbed my coat, the USB drive heavy in my pocket. Whatever my mother was planning, I'd find out. And when I did, I'd make sure they all understood what I'd been carrying. The hospital's fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting a sterile glow on my father's face. His eyes, once sharp, looked tired, sunken from the stroke that stole his strength. I sat by his bed, clutching the USB drive I'd found in Mom's room. Her snooping still burned in my chest. She thought my work was a scam, even as I wired $2,500 each month to keep our Seattle house running. Groceries, utilities, her endless shopping sprees, all on me. I wanted to tell Dad about her betrayal, but his frail hand squeezed mine. I stayed quiet. "Nova, you're here," he whispered, his voice raspy. "You don't have to come every day." I forced a smile. "I want to, Dad." He nodded, but worry creased his brow. His pension was gone, eaten by medical bills. I had taken over, paying for his treatments, the house, everything. $2,500. It wasn't just money, it was my life, my hours spent coding until my eyes stung. And Mom? She didn't care. I glanced at my phone. A bank alert popped up. Another charge on Mom's card. I opened the app, my stomach twisting. $5,000. A designer coat from some boutique downtown? $5,000? That could have covered Dad's therapy for a month. My hands shook. How could she? I'd been scraping by, funneling every cent into this family, and she was buying luxury coats? I stood, pacing the hospital room. The beeping monitors matched my racing pulse. I wanted to call her, demand answers. But Dad coughed, pulling me back. "You okay, kid?" he asked. "Yeah," I lied. "Just thinking." He didn't buy it. His eyes searched mine, like he knew something was breaking inside me. I sat again, my anger simmering. I'd sacrificed everything, my savings, my freedom, to keep this family afloat, and Mom was throwing it away on status symbols. That night, back home, I couldn't sleep. The rain battered the windows, a restless rhythm. I opened my laptop, checking the family account. Another charge. on Mom's card. I opened the app, my stomach twisting. $200. For a spa day? My jaw clenched. I pictured Mom, smug, swiping my money while calling my work a lie. I slammed the laptop shut. Enough was enough. But then, a knock. Ethan, my brother, stood in my doorway, his face tight. "Nova, we need to talk." I crossed my arms. "About what?" "Mom's worried about the bills. She thinks you're not pulling your weight." I laughed, sharp and bitter. "Not pulling my weight? I'm paying for everything."
He shrugged like it didn't matter. "She says you're sitting on some secret stash." Lila agrees. My blood ran cold. A secret stash? They were buying Mom's lies, the ones she'd built from snooping through my files. I gripped the USB drive in my pocket, my mind racing. They didn't just doubt me, they were turning my sacrifice into a conspiracy. I stared at Ethan, his smug grin mirroring Lila's. They'd moved in a week ago, claiming Mom needed support while Dad was in the hospital. Support, right. All they'd done was complain about my cooking and mock my work. Data science, Lila had sneered yesterday, sounds like a hobby. I heard footsteps, heavy, deliberate. Ethan's. He knocked, then barged in without waiting. "Nova, we're setting some ground rules," he said, arms crossed. Lila leaned against the doorframe, her smirk sharp as a blade. "Ground rules?" I asked, my voice steady despite the fire in my chest. "Yeah," Ethan said. "You're not pulling your weight. Lila's cooking tonight, but you're on breakfast duty tomorrow. And clean the living room. It's a mess." I stared, my pulse hammering. "I'm paying for this house, every bill, every grocery run, and you want me to scrub floors?" Lila laughed, a cold, cutting sound. "Paying? With what? Your fake computer job?" My fingers twitched toward my laptop. I could show them the bank transfers, the client contracts, but their smug faces stopped me. They wouldn't believe me. They never had. That night, I couldn't sleep. The house felt like a cage, their voices clawing through the walls. I opened my email, checking for client updates. A new message caught my eye, from a client I'd worked with last month. "Urgent, payment issue," it read. My stomach dropped. I clicked. They hadn't received my last invoice. Someone had contacted them, claiming I'd quit freelancing. I froze. My client list was private, locked on my laptop. Only one person had access, Lila. She'd been in my room yesterday, borrowing a charger. I checked my files. My contacts spreadsheet was open, modified an hour ago. Lila hadn't just mocked my work, she was trying to sabotage it. My hands shook as I locked my laptop. This wasn't just about breakfast or cleaning. They were trying to erase me, to take everything I'd built. I paced, the floorboards creaking under my feet. Ethan's car, Lila's wine deliveries, Mom's $5,000 coat, all funded by me. And now this? I sank onto my bed, my mind racing. Ethan hadn't mentioned his job since moving in. He'd always bragged about his tech firm, his corner office. But last week, I'd overheard him on the phone, vague and tense. "It's temporary," he'd said. I Googled his company. A news article popped up. Layoffs. Ethan's department? Gutted. He'd been fired. He wasn't here to help. He was here to leech. I clutched the USB drive. Mom's snooping now making sense. They were building a case to push me out, to claim this house, my money. But I wasn't their pawn. I'd play their game, but smarter. Tomorrow I'd visit Dad. He'd know how to navigate this. Or maybe he'd tell me to run. Either way, I was done being their doormat. The Seattle dawn was gray, the air heavy with mist. I slipped out of the house before Ethan or Lila could corner me with more demands. My hands gripped the steering wheel, the USB drive still in my pocket, a silent accusation. Lila's sabotage, tampering with my client contacts, burned in my mind. She wasn't just mocking my work, she was trying to destroy it.
And Ethan, hiding his job loss, was no better. They'd moved in to help, but they were vultures, circling my $2,500 monthly transfers. I drove to the hospital, my chest tight. Dad's room was quiet, the monitors beeping softly. He lay there, frail but awake, his eyes brightening when he saw me. "Nova," he rasped, managing a weak smile. "You look tense." I sat beside him, my voice low. "It's Ethan and Lila. They're taking over the house, demanding I cook, clean, while I'm paying for everything." His face darkened. "And your mother?" I hesitated. "She's with them, Dad. Thinks I'm hiding money. She's been snooping, Dad. I found proof." I pulled out the USB drive, my hands trembling. "She's got my emails, my invoices. She thinks my work's a scam." Dad's jaw tightened. He struggled to sit up, his breath uneven. "Nova, there's something you need to know." My heart skipped. "What?" He reached for the drawer beside his bed, his hands shaky. He pulled out a folded letter, yellowed at the edges. "Read this, when I'm gone." I stared at the envelope, my name scrawled in his handwriting. "Dad, you're not going anywhere." He shook his head. "Just listen. Your mother? She's been hiding things. For years." I leaned closer, my pulse racing. "What things?"
"Debts," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "Before my stroke, she maxed out 3 credit cards in my name. I covered for her, sold my stocks to pay them off. She promised to stop." I froze, the room spinning. "But she didn't, did she?" "No," he said, his eyes heavy with guilt. "That $5,000 coat? It's not the worst. There's more, Nova. Accounts I didn't know about. She's been using your money to hide it." My breath caught. The coat was bad enough, but this? Mom wasn't just reckless, she was burying us. And I'd been enabling her, wiring $2,500 a month, thinking I was helping Dad. I clutched the letter, my knuckles white. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I wanted to protect you. You were already carrying so much." Tears stung my eyes. I'd sacrificed my savings, my sanity, for a family that lied to me. Ethan, jobless, leeching off my work. Lila, sabotaging my career. Mom, drowning us in secret debts. I stood pacing the room, the letter heavy in my hand. "Open it," Dad said softly. "You need to know." I tore the envelope, my hands unsteady. Inside was a single page, dated a year ago. Dad's words were meticulous, like he'd known this day would come. "Nova, if you're reading this, I'm sorry. Your mother's debts are deeper than you know. There's a second mortgage on the house. She forged my signature. I found out too late. Protect yourself. You're stronger than you think." I sank into the chair, my vision blurring. A second mortgage. Forged. The house I'd been paying for wasn't even safe. My mother hadn't just betrayed my trust, she had gambled our future. Dad reached for my hand. "You don't owe them, Nova. Live for you." His words hit like a spark in dry grass. I'd been holding this family together, but for what? To be mocked? Sabotaged? Lied to? I looked at Dad, his face pale but resolute. He was right. I didn't owe them. Not anymore. I tucked the letter into my pocket, next to the USB drive. Lila sabotage, Mom's debts, Ethan's lies. They thought they could break me. But I was done playing their game. I'd go home, face them, and set my plan in motion. They'd learn what it meant to lose me. I kissed Dad's forehead, my resolve hardening. "I'll be back tomorrow." He nodded, a faint smile breaking through. "Be careful, kid." I drove home, the letter's weight anchoring me. The fog was lifting, but a storm was coming, and I'd be the one to bring it. The Seattle sky was bruised with clouds, mirroring the storm inside me. I drove home from the hospital, Dad's letter tucked beside the USB drive in my pocket. A second mortgage, forged signatures, Mom's secret debts.
The words churned in my head, each one a fresh cut. I'd been pouring $2,500 a month into this family, thinking I was saving them. Instead, I'd been funding Mom's lies, Ethan's laziness, Lila's betrayal. Lila. Her sabotage of my client contacts was the final straw. She wasn't just mocking me, she was trying to steal my life.
I parked outside the house, my hands steady now. The plan had crystallized. I wouldn't just walk away. I'd make them feel the weight of their choices. I opened my laptop in the car, the glow harsh against the dusk. My banking app loaded. The family account linked to Mom's card stared back. $10,000. My savings funneled into their lives. I clicked transfer, redirecting it to a private account I'd set up last month. Only Dad's medical bills would stay covered, tied to his separate fund. My phone buzzed, a client email, another one claiming I'd canceled a project. My blood boiled. I checked my contact spreadsheet. Another entry altered, timestamps from this morning. Lila, again. She'd been in my room while I was at the hospital. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white. She wasn't just sabotaging me, she was trying to poach my clients, passing my work off as her own. I stormed inside. The living room was a mess, takeout containers strewn across the coffee table. Ethan sprawled on the couch, scrolling his phone. Lila stood at the kitchen counter, sipping wine. Mom was there too, unpacking a box of crystal figurines. More purchases. My money. "Nice to see you, Nova," Lila said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Done hiding in your room?" I ignored her, facing Mom. "We need to talk." She barely looked up. "What now?" I held up the USB drive. "You've been snooping, digging through my files. Why?" Her eyes widened, just for a second. Then she shrugged. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't lie," I snapped. "I found it. My invoices, my emails. You think my work's a scam?" Ethan sat up, smirking. "Calm down, Nova. You're being dramatic." "Dramatic?" I laughed, sharp and cold. "I've paid $2,500 a month for this house. Dad's bills, your car, Ethan, your wine, Lila, Mom's $5,000 coat, and you call me dramatic?" Lila's smirk faltered. Ethan's face hardened. "You're not the only one contributing," he said. "Really?" I stepped closer. "Because I checked. You got fired, Ethan, months ago. You're not contributing, you're leeching." His jaw dropped. Lila set her glass down, her eyes narrowing. "Watch it, Nova." "No," I said, my voice steady. "I'm done watching. I know what you did, Lila. You've been emailing my clients, pretending I quit, stealing my work." Her face paled. "That's ridiculous." "Is it?" I pulled out my phone, showing the tampered spreadsheet. "You logged in this morning, changed my contacts, sent fake emails." Mom stepped forward, flustered. "Nova, stop this. We're family." "Family?" I turned to her, the letter burning in my pocket. "You forged Dad's signature? Took out a second mortgage? Hid debts while I paid for your life? Family doesn't do that." The room went silent. Ethan's mouth opened, but no words came. Lila's eyes darted to the door. Mom clutched her figurines, her face crumpling. "I'm leaving," I said, my voice calm now. "Good luck paying for this without me." I grabbed my bag, already packed. Their stunned faces followed me to the door. "Nova, wait," Mom stammered. I didn't look back. I stepped into the rain, my heart pounding with something new. Freedom. They'd realize what they'd lost when the bills came due. And Lila's sabotage? I'd already emailed my clients, locking her out. I drove away, the house shrinking in my rear view. Dad's words echoed, "Live for you." I would, and they'd learn to live without me. The rain had stopped, leaving Seattle streets slick and gleaming under the streetlights. I settled into my new apartment, a small studio with a view of Puget Sound. For the first time in years, I breathed easy. No demands, no smirks, just quiet. My laptop hummed, my client contracts secure after Lila's sabotage attempt. I'd locked her out, sent apologies, rebuilt trust. Work was steady again, my income climbing. I wired money only for Dad's hospital bills now. The family account? Empty, except for their debts. My phone buzzed. Ethan. I ignored it, sipping coffee, watching the ferries glide across the water. He'd called 3 times since I left 2 weeks ago. Each voicemail was more desperate. Nova, we need to talk. The utilities are off. Mom's freaking out. I didn't answer. They'd made their choice. I visited Dad daily, his smile brighter each time. You look lighter, he said yesterday, his voice stronger. I told him about my new place, my plans. He nodded, proud. But he hadn't mentioned Mom or Ethan or Lila. Neither did I. Then, a text from an old neighbor. Your mom's in trouble. My stomach twisted. I called her back, keeping it brief. What's going on? They're drowning, she said. Bills unpaid, collectors at the door. Ethan's scrambling, but it's bad. I leaned against the window, the glass cool against my forehead. Part of me pitied them, part of me didn't. They'd mocked my work, called it a scam, while spending my $2,500 monthly transfers. Now, reality was biting. That night, Ethan called again. I picked up, my voice cold. What do you want? He said, his tone frantic. The house. We can't pay the mortgage. Mom's credit cards are maxed. I stayed silent, letting him squirm. I told you to leave, I said finally. You got your wish. It's not like that, he stammered. We didn't know about the money. You didn't listen. I told you I was paying for everything. You laughed. He went quiet. Then a whisper. Mom's in deeper than we thought. I frowned. What do you mean? A pause. She took out a credit line. In your name. Forged your signature. It's defaulted. They're coming for us. My heart stopped. Forged my name? I gripped the phone, my mind racing. Dad's letter had warned of a second mortgage. But this? A credit line in my name? I checked my banking app, Scientic. There it was, a $20,000 line opened 6 months ago. Payments missed. My credit score, my future, tangled in her lies.
I wanted to scream, to drive to the house and confront her. But I didn't. I hung up, my hand shaking. They'd pushed me out, stolen from me, and now this. I called my lawyer friend, Sarah, explaining everything. Freeze it, she said. We'll fight it. Fraud's fraud. I sat back, staring at the city lights. Ethan's desperation, Mom's betrayal. It was their mess now. I pictured them in that house, scrambling as the walls closed in. Lila, I learned, had left Ethan last week, unable to handle the pressure. Mom was working odd jobs, her pride shattered. Ethan, jobless, was selling his car. I felt a pang of pity, but it passed. They'd built this cage. I was free. My studio, a sanctuary, my work, my own. Dad's smile was enough. Tomorrow, I'd visit him, plan our next steps. They'd face their consequences. I'd face my future. The Seattle sunrise painted my studio's windows gold. I sat with my coffee, my laptop quiet for once. 3 months had passed since I left that house. My new life was simple, peaceful. My income climbed, my clients loyal after I'd undone Lila's sabotage. I visited Dad daily, his recovery slow but steady. His smile was my anchor. Yesterday, Sarah, my lawyer friend, called. The credit line's frozen, she said. Fraud charges filed. Your name's clear. I exhaled, relief flooding me. Mom's forged credit line, that $20,000 shadow, was gone. But there was more. Sarah found a trust fund set up by Dad years ago. For me. $50,000, hidden from Mom's grasp. I stared at the paperwork, stunned. Dad hadn't mentioned it. Not in his letter, not in the hospital. He'd protected me, even when I didn't know. I cried then. Not from pain, but gratitude. That trust fund was freedom. My future, secure. Ethan called last week, voice broken. "Mom's selling the house," he said. "Lila's gone." "I'm sorry, Nova." I listened, silent. Their world was crumbling. Mom worked double shifts at a diner. Her designer bags pawned. Ethan took a warehouse job, his pride shattered. I felt no joy, only distance. They'd chosen their path. I walked to the hospital, the trust fund papers in my bag. Dad was sitting up, stronger. "You knew," I said, holding up the documents. He smiled, eyes twinkling. "Wanted you to have something of your own." I hugged him, tears falling. "You gave me everything." That night, I reflected. Family can lift you or break you. I had carried them, sacrificed my dreams, only to be cast aside. But I learned my worth. You don't owe anyone your soul, not even blood. Live for those who see you, who value you. That's the life that matters. My story's not over. I'm building something new, with Dad by my side. If this moved you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more stories that hit home. I closed my laptop, the city sparkling below. I was free. Not just from them, but for me. And that was enough.